Good evening, every one of you who are here now. My name is Dr. Utibe Akah. So if you are here with me in this session, go ahead and drop a comment so that I know that you are here. All right, this is cost monitoring and control. I'm waiting for you. Cost monitoring and control. So first, let me ask, for you who has come here now, how was your day? I hope you had a great day. Yeah, good evening. Good to have you. Good to have you. And I trust you had a good day. Adolphus Jr., good evening. Good evening to all of you. Wherever you are, this is the essence, to make it convenient for you to be able to get going. Right? So are we good? Can we start? When you're done, just tell me, let's start. I think we are supposed to be more than this in this session. And I'm seeing a few number of you, and it's not encouraging. Yes, Pison, how are you today? This session is actually very important, so whoever is not here might find it a bit difficult, but I have an instruction for everyone. Go ahead and like this video. If you are here live, go ahead and like the video. All right, so welcome and thank you for joining me in today's session in advanced cost monitoring and control. And it's actually meant for not just architects, but everyone who is interested in or who is enthusiastic about the built environment. Ndukemfon, great to see you. And you all know my name, so I don't need to introduce myself again. I've said it earlier, my name is Dr. Utibe Akah. So I'll be guiding you through, how you can efficiently monitor and control costs in your project. Very soon you are going to be exposed into the labor market and you'll be having constant issues. In fact, people call me several times and they ask me how they can manage certain situations. But in this particular video, we will try as much as possible because of time to go very straightforward and hit everything. Another instruction is that if you have any questions as we are going, please do well to articulate your question well and type it here right in the screen. I will see your questions. I'm sure you know that. And if I see those questions, I will take on them at the nearest available time that I have to pause while talking, okay? So that we don't have a lot of interruptions. But please, it is an interactive class, so everyone has to, go ahead and do that. So, why is cost monitoring very important, and why is it one of the challenges that we face in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry? That's a huge question for us to deal with, and it is only our interaction, participation, and practicality that will actually give us wider understanding. I don't want you to take this as that one theoretical discipline. No, it's actually a very practical discipline. So hang on with me. Let's go. Right? Remember, I said I want it to be very interactive. So feel free. Don't be tense. Don't be tense. Yeah, great, great. Everyone, welcome, 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 welcome. Let me ask you a quick question, and I need everybody to give me their answers to this. Since you have started doing things in the build industry, whether it is designing for a client or going to site for supervision, what is your biggest cost related challenge that you have had? Have you faced any challenge before when it's cost wise? Did you undercharge? Did you collect money and the money wasn't enough for you to finish the work? Or did you charge and by the time you needed someone to do the work, you found out that the person charged you more than what you charge the clients? So let's hear. I just want somebody to tell me. I need like 2 or 3 of that. Once I get it, we'll roll with that. Okay? Yes, yes, go ahead. Go ahead, I'm waiting for you. Oh, Femi, you're welcome. Yeah, listen, undercharging has been your biggest issue. All right. Undercharging has been your biggest issue. And that has always been most people's issues. And when it becomes like that, it's a problem because that project will be stalled. Okay, so keep that question on hold because as we go on, I will now show you something about that. Okay, first, if you have a note, if you don't bother, but just take note that you need to know first what cost monitoring is. The term monitoring, to monitor, right, is actually keeping track, right, of whatever it is. Akah, right? Hello, okay, great. Everyone, take notes. The term monitoring has to do with keeping track. So when we talk about cost monitoring, what we imply in essence is actually keeping track or monitoring an ongoing process of a project by taking notes and evaluating a project's actual expenses against what was planned for it. It's about you ensuring that what you spend stays in alignment with the initial financial plan, because what you are spending, if it goes out of the initial financial plan, what you are definitely going to have an overrun. So when you continuously observe your expenditure throughout the process of the project, what it's termed is that is cost monitoring. All right. Oh, great. Payment for consultancy. All right. There is a course I took some time ago, and that course was termed pricing the works. Before you price any work, you need to sit down with your team and know the stakeholders that are there in the take note of the stakeholders that are involved in the project so that you can get their feeds, their input, financial input, whatever they will require, you take them down. Whether it's a QS that is doing that, whether it's an architect that is planning it, but you need to know that as an architect, you don't even wait for any other person to advise you on this. If you're an architect, if you're a QS, you don't wait for anybody to advise you. You should know it. Any discipline at all, as long as you are leading a project, before you close on the pricing, you must bring in all the stakeholders and understand exactly what they are to charge or what they would charge. And when you get that, that becomes an actual, and you now sit back and think about every other thing or unforeseen circumstances that would arise. Okay, right. Major points about cost monitoring dwells on one, purpose, and the second one is the process, while the third one is, the involvement. So if I'm taking on breaking them down, good evening everyone. If I'm breaking them down for someone to understand better, the purpose of cost monitoring is for you to identify potential cost overruns early. Because if you don't monitor it, you might realize it at the end of the project. Imagine taking a contract of maybe 5 billion, whether in any currency you are taking that, and you did not monitor the cost. As the project is going on, you have gotten to a stage where you have collected a percentage of the money, and by the time the valuers are coming to value for you get another milestone payment, you find out that you have not finished the first milestone, but you need money to actually finish it. So that's the essence of monitoring, so that you'll be able to identify or track cost overruns early, and take corrective actions to stay within your budget. Is very important. When we do project management, there's something you normally hear, quality, time, and cost, right? We hear that. Those are key performance indicators, and it should be like quality is non-negotiable. But you see, cost, there are factors that could affect it. And these factors that affect cost can, at the end of the day, act on the quality. Okay, we'll get down and we'll get to the points. So follow me, okay? For everyone coming into this video now, I want to say you're welcome to this session. This particular session is going to capture 3 of our modules. We will have another session like this that will deal with other modules. So in this one, I'll give you an introductory background, then a brief introduction to some applications or software you could use. Then we deal with the end value, management of projects. It's very important that you follow each of them critically, because you will find them useful in the long run. If you have not at this point liked this video, go ahead and do so that this video would go and reach as much as they would need. But if you don't like what I'm telling you, please don't like it. All right? But if you actually like what I'm telling you, please go ahead and like it. It's just consensus for you to do that. All right, great. So I'll take a moment and identify everyone here. Yes, all of you, you're welcome. You're welcome. I really appreciate that you have gone ahead to drop a comment for me to know that you are here. If you have a question, keep your question tight. I'll get back to you shortly. All right. So let's move on back to what we were talking about, okay? So what is the importance of cost control in architecture? As we all know that every project starts with a vision, right? But the vision needs a solid financial foundation. I would say you need to follow with your able to deliver on, because project, whether you are the one funding it or whoever is funding it, there is an allocation to it. If you don't have it, bad. So number one importance, which I've mentioned earlier, is for you to stay within budget. Number two, take note, to control resources allocated, or rather to allocate your resources efficiently. Then number 3, for your clients to remain satisfied. Imagine if you are a client, you have signed contract with your contractor, with your project team, your project managers, and at the long run, they come back to you without giving you what you asked for. How would you feel? You will be unsatisfied. It might even lead to legal action. All right. And the fourth of its importance is to actually keep the firm, the institution, profitable. You cannot be in business and you don't make profit. So if you don't make profit, why are you doing projects? I used to see people back in the days. Every day you see them, they are working. What are you working on? Like I had a friend some time ago. Every time he's going to site, but this guy can't even buy fuel to fuel the project vehicle. Why? He said, this work I'm running on a loss. So why? It means you didn't monitor the costs. All right. Let me give you an instance here. Imagine that you design a commercial complex, and midway of the project, you realize that the cost of materials that you are to use has increased by, say, 20-25%. Just look at the situation in your environment, that things are going high by the day. So, and you find yourself that the cost of materials has gone up. Okay, even if you want to take a very small project, you are doing a model and you go to pick modeling materials and you find out that the cost of those materials have gone up. In fact, 2 days ago, something happened, and I'm going to share that with you. I was asked to suggest 2 masons that would go with their team to a project site and run the block work. So I was like, okay, I have a couple of them, but since you want 2, and I'll give you the 2 good ones. I suggested the 2, and I asked these 2 guys, what is your charge? For us to be very transparent, for them to be transparent, rather not myself, that they would need to charge per block, rather than saying they want to go and do daily pay. Nobody will be there to be pushing them to work. But if they charge per quantity, you see the point? It will enable whoever will be counting or measuring the work to, assign cost to it. So at that point, it was, one of them said he's going to take $130 for each block. The second one said the same thing. In fact, the first one said 140, but he now said, okay, finally we'll take 130. The second one said the same thing. And I communicated that to the contractors who needed these men. And the contractors got back to me that they will need them. Actually, they will want to bring them to come, but the cost is not okay on their side. That they already have a team that is working with them at a lesser cost, 110 naira. And you know what happened? One of them said, Master, I will not take it at that amount. I said, if the amount is not good for you, please don't take it. The other one said, okay, he will take it at that 110 because it's me. I said, no, remove me from the shoe because I'm not part of that team. It's because it's them and it's because it's your boss. So he took the offer. They gave him transportation and he went to site. On going to site, he now realized that the people who were on site were not collecting 110. So he shot himself on the foot. That is underpricing. The person who brought that question earlier, Pearson, was that you? Yeah. So I was telling you to hold that. So that's what a lot of people run into. And the young man said, he cannot do the job because it's frustrating. He will be working too hard and he will be going home with a little pay. So that is what underpricing does. It displeases you and it will affect that project. Now let me tell you what happened to the project. After the first day on site, the second day nobody saw the guy again. His phone, I learned that his phone was stolen on site. Get the point? His phone was stolen on site, and as I'm talking to you, he's not in that site. And the work has been stalled due to underpricing. So you see the effect of it, and the client, who being the contractor who called him in this instance, he is not happy because the work has been stalled. The work was supposed to be moving. So that is one of the effects of what cost monitoring would do if you neglect it. All right. So if you are here, go ahead and like this video as I proceed. All right. If you have any question at this point, I'm here to answer you. Now, without monitoring, the increase, as I mentioned, if you have that project move from 20% to 25% in terms of material, if there was no monitoring, the point is that there will be a break in the budget. It will lead to compromises. Now, let me tell you what happens in this case. In any situation where such has happened, that you have overrun your cost and the client refuses to give you additional cost because you didn't monitor it, and you cannot even justify it. If you don't monitor, you will not know where the problem came from. So you will not be able to justify. So like in this one, the project was monitored and they saw that the prices of materials went high. And if prices of materials has gone high, then the contractor doesn't sell materials, except the contract said that there will be no review. But if the contract allowed for review in times where material have changed or prices of materials have changed, then it would have been good at that time for him to present to the client to say that the cost of it is much, or the cost of material is much, and it's going to affect him in the delivery of the task. Then there will be measurement of what he has done, whether it coincides with the amount that has been spent, and they will do what is called valuation, and he will ask for, a revisit of the cost. You understand the point now? All right, so we move on. So now, as architects, we have a big role to play in budget management. And where we come in, let me give you this. The point is that you might think that cost control is purely the responsibility of maybe the quant surveyor, the project manager, or the finance team. But as architects, I want to tell you that architects, for you to know, in any location, also have the role of project managers to play. So as architects, you play a very vital role. And your role also includes, your role in bringing down, or your role in budget management goes down to the materials that you select. There are some materials that you recommend, and you know that this project that you're going for, you have discussed with your clients severally. So what do you have as the budget for this thing, so that we can work within the budget? As an architect, you don't go ahead and put cost of materials that will require maybe importation, and there will be excess, costs that will arise apart from the actual cost of the material. You get the point? That is why we have, in today's world, when you hear about sustainability, getting materials from the location where you are actually constructing is part of sustainability, because you will reduce the cost of transportation, and the cost will stay within the area, and it will help the economy of that environment rather than taking money out from one zone to another location because you want to go and import. You understand? So that using local workers, people from a locality to work is also part of it that can help you do that. All right. Another one is your design strategy, how you design the project, okay, can help you reduce unnecessary expenses. Then, very important, the coordination strategy. You know, a couple of people in practice still maintain and make use of that coordination that uses manual methods. You cannot bring in everybody to be in one place in today's world, just like you are here now, right? You are at the comfort of your home. Probably the internet is very good where you are, and you are able to come up live, and we are interacting. So leveraging on technology in coordination and using the appropriate technology to do that will actually help us to preserve cost. Imagine that I said that, okay, we are going to meet at a particular location at a particular time, and we need to provide power, we need to provide a projector, we need to come on, that's increasing cost. True or false? Can somebody give me an applause there? Yeah, that's just being hilarious. And if you are here in this video at this point, you have not given a thumbs up to this video, you are not doing well. But if you have, kudos to you. Great. Thank you for the beautiful flowers. I love that. All right. So you see, using technology to track real-time costs will help you if you are doing that as an architect. So as architects, it is a call for us to imbibe these things to help us. Okay. So you know that. Now take this as a feedback that you are not just a designer. You are a strategic decision maker. In fact, the more reason why a client should look for you is not just about the design. You know, they should look for you because you think 360 degrees. Your thinking pattern is not one directional. If you are an architect and you have not developed that ability to think beyond what you are designing and begin to look into what other people's inputs are and the challenges that may arise from their decisions and their design, then you're not doing well. All right? But I believe that with the training that we've all had as architects, we actually think broader. Take, for instance, you bring a welder. Should I call it a welder? Okay, let me even go to somebody that is even more related to the work we do. Like maybe you have a foreman on site. You have a foreman on site, and the foreman is there day in and day out. But one fateful day, the project you were working, maybe your client is unable to pay the architect's fees, and you withdraw your services. Then the foreman who was there now feels, Ekwere, you're welcome. If you have not liked this video, Ekwere, go ahead and like this video now. And for you to like this video, whoever has tried to do that and has not been able to do that, you see those 3 dots at the top of your device. It's called a hamburger. There are 3 dots. Tap on it. Once you tap on that hamburger, you are going to have the like show. Go ahead and like it and swipe back. Then you get correct. I'm too good, right? I can describe. Very good. So well done, well done, well done. Whoever has not liked this video should always do that whenever you come into the video. All right. Thank you for doing that. So I said, by the time you leave the site because the fees were not being paid, the client would have even wanted you to leave because he has one foreman. Maybe the foreman was your own person, and he will go from the back and tell one of the masons that were working there that was doing as if he knows how to do so much. He asked the person, can you handle this thing? Let's finish up this work. He said, yes, of course I can do that. Then one fateful day, Madam comes with Oga into the building and said, oh, I don't like the size of this kitchen. This kitchen is too small. Are you getting the point? And now, why I'm bringing this in is because of my advocacy for technology. If we had imbibed that or make use of such at the beginning of the project, we would have actually used virtual reality, give the woman AR headsets and she puts it on and she will feel the space real time, and there wouldn't be any need for design changes. Remember, design changes will definitely bring about changes in cost. For every wall that you move, there will be a change. Okay, in this instance, yes, the client. All right. Now, the architect is no longer on site, okay? And as the architect is not on site, what is happening is that the client is giving instruction. I'm not saying this is not good practice. This is totally forbidden, but it happens. So because it happens, we have to address it in the aspects that it happens, because you cannot neglect what happens and say it doesn't happen. No. If it happens, it happens. Exactly. Hologram, you are correct. So now, the client gives instruction now, and who interprets it? Nobody to interpret. The person who is there on site. Remember, we have the tiler already going on with the styling, and the guy is plastering the other rooms. They are plastering the other side. The electrician is working. Everybody is working on site, and the client feels, because he has seen the space. After all, he has been living in houses for years. He knows, he has seen the space now. Everything is working. He can tell them to move things anyhow. And that young mason that is there with him will say, sir, yes, let's remove the wall and move it to this point. Can you see what is happening? Disaster. First thing, the client is going to spend more money than he would have spent. And at the end of the day, if K is not taken, they will come back to you. So for any clients coming into this session, it is a bad thing to do. All right. Okay, very good. So I'm telling you from the experience point, and I'm happy that you have experienced it. The clients will spend so much money. So that's why we are educating each and every one of us in this direction. Both the designer, the project manager, the engineers, everybody, there is a role. But the architect has the big eye. You know that logo, that your NIA logo, you saw that head on top, that stuff that comes up here. Yeah. The architect has a very big eye. So the point I was trying to drive here is that you don't leave what is supposed to be nailed and done for somebody who doesn't have the knowledge to do that. Let me give you a typical example. I'm going to leave the ANC industry to medical science. Have you ever experienced you're sick and you go to a pharmacist and the first thing they just do, they will give you injection. Some of them will even be merciful to tell you to do a test, But the point is that that's not their role, okay? But when you go to see a doctor, that injection that's been given to one person, the doctor will not just administer such injection. The doctor will check the impact of that to the overall well-being of that person. They will weigh the pros and the cons. Does this thing work well for this person or not? If it doesn't work well, then they will look for another strategy. For instance, somebody is sick and the person needs to be given drip. You know, we have two types of drip. We have the saline and the non-saline. The saline is the one that contains salt, and the other one doesn't contain salt. Saline are for people whose blood pressure is low. You understand? So it helps boost their energy level. But if you are somebody who has blood pressure, possibly the person maybe went into coma and they don't have that history, how will they administer? So it means that they will hit the person with the saline drip and the person will knock out from there. And they will just say, oh, that's why we say in architecture that when doctors make mistakes, they bury it. But if mistakes are being made in the AEC, in architecture, in the built environment, what happens to it? You live with it. Remember the story we were talking about, the woman removing the wall. So that is what happens. By the time you shift the wall, you see that the tiler will now come in and you start seeing patches of tiles on the floor. No matter how they try to do it, it will not align. So you have some cuts where they are not supposed to be, some, and it's so disgusting to see. You get the point. And when they finish it, when they are not using the right instruments to do the cutting or the removal, it gives serious disease. So each block that has been broken, the cost of the block, the cost of the labor that was involved there, if you add it up, is a huge money that would have been paid to the person that knows how to do it best and save more cost. All right, let's go ahead. So there are challenges that architectural projects normally have. All right, but before we move on, let's look at this. Okay, let's look at these challenges. From all the scenarios that I've given us, you will find that there are three things that are prominent in this scenario. Peradventure, you find yourself in any of those, you should be able to detail them into these three aspects. Number one is bordered around the scope. Why did I say scope? You had done something for someone and he saw the spaces and you have planned everything, the cost has been done based on that size. And all of a sudden, the person who was not part of the planning stage, though is a stakeholder, was not involved, has now come with. That is why we encourage what is called stakeholder participation when you are building up project brief. If you do any project and you do not involve all the stakeholders, come on, there is going to be conflict. Somebody will, in fact, you will run into huge cost issues, because one of the stakeholders will come up with an idea and say, this thing needs to favor me. I need this to work this way. Like I related with the issue of Madam and the kitchen. When Madam says that the size of the kitchen is small, see, that architect will leave the site too. Do you know that? Whoever is managing the work, whoever designed that building will leave the site. So at the stage of receiving brief, when you finish the initial one, please call for Madam to be part of the meeting. And when you are describing space, try and make it visual, relate it to physical space, so that they will be able to have a grasp. If not, you will have an issue of scope creeping in. And once you have that, it means that if there is scope creep, let me explain this. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Please, somebody drop a comment if you understand what I'm saying, so that I will not just be talking to myself. I've seen that a couple of you have come in and have gone out, fine, but those who have stayed, perfect. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. If you are following me, please go ahead and drop these comments. Let me ask, Have you ever been in a site? Work is ongoing, okay? You have already done structural details for the project. Services drawings have been made, and the client comes in and throws in an additional feature in the project. What do you think will happen? What do you think will happen? If such a thing happens that was not in the original plan, that is what is called scope creep. It means that there is a new scope, something is creeping into it. So if you don't manage that properly, it can really lead you to inflate the project cost. Yeah, stakeholders is everybody that has a stake in that project. Even the user is a stakeholder. Unfortunately, in most projects, this is answering your question. Unfortunately, in most projects, stakeholders are not being carried on. Especially when I say stakeholders in this stance, I'm talking about the user. If you are doing a building, except you are just except you are doing what's it called again? Except you are doing a rentable space, which is a standard and anybody can just come and take it as it is. But if you are doing something that somebody is going to own, the stakeholder should be part of it. The user should be part of it. If the user is not part of it, that is the role of the architect to be able to. That is the role of the architect to be able to, think about the behavior of the user and put himself in the shoe of the user, because that is what it will end up being. All right. Thank you for understanding. So the second one in terms of the challenges is inaccurate estimate. I gave you an instance earlier, and I talked about someone who, great, good to know that you guys all understand. So I talked about the mason who underpriced himself. That was inaccurate estimate, and now the project is stalled. And the third one, great, is design changes, which I've also illustrated design changes. So take note of the three major challenges that might cause cost issues. One, can somebody tell me number one? Scope creep. Number two, inaccurate estimates. And 3, design changes. So take note of that. Yeah, clients even made changes after the approval process. That's quite bad. But in such case, that is where we charge extra fees. So you revalue that, and it's called additional cost, which was not in the initial scope. So you charge them for that. Yes, inaccurate estimates. Design changes is another one, and scope creep. And I'm sure we will not forget these 3. All right. Now, there are methods that we use to do this cost control. There are ways to control it. Remember, this course is monitoring and control. Before I talk about those methods that we use to do that, let me go straight into a few things that I want you to take note of. If you are asked, what is cost monitoring? I know you can Google it anywhere and find the definition, but know that there are major things about cost monitoring you should not leave out. It's about the purpose of doing it. which is to identify potential cost overrun early. All right? So if you are asked, cost monitoring is an ongoing process of tackling and evaluating project actual expenses against its planned budget, essentially to do what? To ensure that spending stays aligned with initial financial plan. All right? The second key point there, as I mentioned earlier, is process, and the third one is involvement. The involvement is where you do what is called tracking. You track the expenses, you analyze your trends, and you report where you have deviations, all right, from the budget. Okay. Are we all together? Let me get your questions. Any question at the moment before I move to the next point? Any question at the moment? If there is no question, feel free to drop your question in the comment section. Whenever it arises, I will do well to answer them for further clarification. What's the difference between scope creep and design changes? Okay. Okay, scope creep comes mostly when you find yourself, it's quite related, okay, but scope creep is where there is change in the scope, something that was not there initially has been introduced. That is, it's major somehow, but design changes could just be something like moving a window and putting a door here. It's not really out of scope, it's just change, you know. But scope, the scope of work could have been that you should do supervision to a certain stage, you know. So it's not, that one is not like, it's not design change, it's scope. It's scope has to do with the works to be done. You get, but changes has to do with placement of things in places. Have I made sense to you? Have I made sense to you? Design changes are the things that are borders on revisions. All right, okay. All right. I'm glad you understand that. Okay, for stakeholders, what if there is a serious division, let's say within the professionals? Would the architect still convince or find new people? You know that it's a contract. Both the team that are coming in, they are coming in to a contract. So whatever conflicts that will arise, that is the place of the project manager to resolve. You know, in large projects, there must be, in fact, every project should have a project manager. The project manager could be an architect, could be trained architect, he could be a trained quantity surveyor, he could be a trained civil engineer, he could also be a trained project manager. So it depends on the nature of the project and what is dominant. If it's a project that has to do with more of planning, you know, changes will occur in terms of planning, designing, you need an architect as a project manager. If it is an engineering project, like a road project, you know, you actually need somebody who is civil oriented, you know, to be the project manager. So anybody can actually be a project. And you see, most times when there is an opening for a position of a project manager, they specify the background that they want the project manager to have. So that is the work of the project manager, to make sure that these conflicts, he foresees, the project manager foresees, he will know that this thing that you guys are about to do, he already knows each person's feel, who is not happy on the project already, and he knows that there are certain things that will be coming from that end. So it is his role to bring it together, and that the project manager is actually the representative of the clients. So he's actually your client. Don't ever think that the project manager is to side you. No, he's on the side of the client, because the client is the one paying him to get the work done. So the project manager is to get the work done and get everybody to get it done without disputes. So at the point of negotiation of the terms, that is where we say that we should not miss out on the things that we should consider. Because if you don't consider, great. If you don't consider those things, there will definitely be issues on the long run. All right? All right, let me clear my throat. So, as I said, that there are cost monitoring tools, and some of those tools are to help you achieve different goals. The goals are, if you are checking things on financial, you need a tool that will handle financial cost monitoring. Then you should know that you are trying to checkmate the budget and the estimates. If you are looking at technical cost monitoring tools, you should be looking at the process and resource planning. So you see, applications like I've mentioned this before. I don't know whether I mentioned it to your hearing, but I know I've mentioned about Primavera. I've mentioned about in fact, we have a Microsoft project. We have Autodesk 360. Any collaborative tool will help you. Any collaborative tool. And these things are no longer difficult to learn. So I want to challenge us as part of this course. We are going to look at something like that as we go on. Then if you're also looking at the time-based monitoring, cost monitoring based on time, then you're looking at performance, tracking performance and management. Okay? All right. So what are the benefits of cost monitoring? In as much as there are challenges and all those things, I want to say that cost monitoring is an important part of any project or activity. And it is good for us to also harness the benefits of them. Number one benefit of cost monitoring, even though they might not be limited to what I'm going to list here, but it will help you to make better decisions. Better decisions means that whatever you are going to do, you will decide based on data that you have at hand, not by assumption. I've given a lot of scenarios, so I'm just going to go straight to deal with the onions of the course. Okay? The next one, it will help you to save money. It will help you save money. And it will also help to improve the project's financial stability. Not just projects, it could also be an organization, because it is companies that handle projects, firms, architectural firms handle projects. Imagine that you did not monitor. Okay, let me start calling names of people here. Let's say we have Nduke on a project, and Nduke works slowly and Payson works faster. Yes. So if you need a project that has a shorter timeline and the cost that was allocated on that project is not much, then you are putting someone whose efficiency is lesser on the project. It means that the person will take longer time to deliver on the project. Okay? And if the person takes limited time, or rather longer time to deliver on the project, it means you spend more money on the person. Let's say the person is an employee in the firm, then you are paying that person monthly, and the project was supposed to last for 3 months, and the cost that was given is just to pay at most 4 months, and this person has worked into the 4th month. So where will the profits come from? So you see why we need management and assessment in this aspect. So if you track and see that this person's performance at the first month is not going to deliver the job, it might just mean that either you change the person, or if you know that that person is not strong enough, put a stronger person and let the other one understudy, or take somebody from another team to oversee, something like that. All right. So one of the most important benefits of cost monitoring is that it will help you identify areas where you can save money. I've said that before. All right. Okay. There are types of cost monitoring. Types of cost monitoring. We have, number one, the budgetary, activity-based, resource-based as number 3, impact methodology. So I'm going to give you a task here. For each and every one of us that are here. So this task, take notes, because I'm not going to say it anywhere. I believe that we are here and we will take this to heart. Are we together? Should I drop it? Write on cost monitoring. Okay? Based on what I've talked about, write on cost monitoring and give me the types of cost monitoring. There are about 10 of them. Okay? There are about 10 of them. And I will list them. We have budgetary. We have activity-based. We have resource-based. We have impact methodology. We have performance measurement. We have goal setting, critical path method, critical path method, then end value management. In fact, we are going to treat end value management in this session. Costs of quality and resource allocation analysis. Those are the 10. So you do a brief write-up on the 10 of them and give logical examples of them. That should be bound. Okay? All right. So we move on. As I said earlier that there are, that's types of cost monitoring. So this time around we are looking at methods of cost monitoring. Methods of cost monitoring, let's list them before I start talking about them. We have financial reporting. I'm sure that you see times where people will come and they'll do a financial breakdown of the month, what they have spent and what they have done on social projects. That is financial reporting. Yes. Okay, the last two for cost monitoring. You can always go back to this video. You can always go back. You check the time and go back and check it up. But for the sake of asking, the last two are costs of quality and resource allocation analysis. Are you fine with that? All right, at this moment, if you are here and you have not liked this video, you're not doing very well. So go ahead and like that and be the 20th person to like this video. All right? Great. So we move on. Methods of cost monitoring. Financial reporting is number one. Budgeting. And you know how budgeting is. Okay, let me explain financial reporting so that we just take each of them and explain them. Okay. For financial reporting, it helps you to track your finances, money that is coming in and money that is going out, to determine how much money is being spent. Okay. So if you had 1 billion, what is coming in was, if the contract was 1 billion and you have been given maybe 400 for a start, that is what is coming in. Then you are spending. You need to monitor what you are spending, and you have to monitor it in line with the activity, whether the activity that you are spending it for is actually what was planned for. You understand? So it will help you track the process and enable you change or advise on policy changes if there need to be any change, or procedural changes if there need to be any change in procedure. The second one is budget and forecasting. It's almost the same thing. Budget and forecasting is the same thing, right? It helps you to forecast. So this method actually involves estimating future expenses. That's what forecasting does. But budgeting is actually what you will use for this one, and it will enable you to plan for what you use for another one if the conditions are the same, assuming there are no changes. Okay. So the third one is activity-based costing. Activity-based costing involves assigning a cost to each unit of activity that will be undertaken by the construction company or the architectural firm. This will allow a manager, if you are the manager, to track how much is being spent on specific activities, all right, and make changes as and when needed. Cost segregation is another one. That one is dividing costs into different categories and based on activity. So if you divide the money for a particular stuff, it is based on the activity that will be done that is involved for that particular one. Then this helps to identify where cost is increasing or decreasing and allows for better decision making. Okay, where resources will be allocated in future or whatever time. All right. Then process mapping. In process mapping, it involves a particular process, and then you now look at assessing how much time is spent on each of that. Imagine you're doing a building project. You know that you can overlap activities. So you can decide that, oh, this process is we are doing roofing. I think we should start putting finishes, so that we can ask for money for finishes, so that when they come we will show for finishes. So it just helps you to overlap. Okay, all right. I would want to take a moment and let's look at a very critical aspect of this course, which I believe you will need it. And it has always been a problem for a lot of people. You know, whenever I do things that have calculations, I take it serious. Okay, let's look at what is called model 2. For this would have been the software aspect, but you can't do it now. So I implore you to go and have your hands on Microsoft projects. Everybody who has a laptop will have Microsoft projects. Okay, so I'm going to just go and look at how a project is being set up with Microsoft projects, because I will give you a task by the next time we meet. Okay, all right. It's important you know how to do it. Microsoft project will help you plan your activity. In fact, it is not, even if it's drawing, as long as it's an activity, it will help you plan it, and you know the time and the allocation that you need to allocate to such, and you monitor it. And remember, you can link it with your calendar, so it could work with your system's calendar. Okay, you can link it with any calendar at all, so that you have those notifications and prompts as well as. So I want us, as those who have been partakers of this course, let's take this particular one serious. Microsoft project. Try your hands doing that, and it will help you. Maybe if I'm going to take you through doing that, I will have to do a different video, not this one, where I will share my screen and take you through the process. But I need to get feedbacks from you. Okay, is there a special template on what? All right, while I'm waiting for that, we look at the next model. This model is called end value management in architectural projects. Yes, this particular aspect, by the time we finish it, I want you to be able to master the principle of EVM, called end value management, and be able to apply them in architectural context, in architectural project context. So we will do practical works here. All right? All right. Somebody should go ahead and move a motion for us to proceed. Okay, so we proceed. I have moved the motion. Great. What is end value management? What is end value management? As we are looking at it, by definition, it's a comprehensive, or let me not say comprehensive, it's a project management technique that serves, in assessing and controlling project performance and progress. Performance and progress. What it does is that it integrates measurements related to project scope, schedule, and resource utilization. So scope, schedule, and what? Resource utilization. It will give the team, it will give you the information required to make actual decision. Okay, it's the second one. EARN, and EARNED, and value management, and value management. All right. Great. So rather than laboring you, if you type in your Google search now, you get the definition. So key point 1, get the definition. All right. And whatever definition you are going to get, make sure that it integrates what measurement related to project scope, schedule, and resource utilization, to provide what? A holistic, that's it, to give you a holistic view for your project's progress or health, to enable informed decision. Let me know what you mean I should drop. All right. While I continue, we have the principles. Okay, number 1 is the definition of end value management. Definition. Number 2, principles. When you hear me say EVM, I'm talking about end value management. So principles, maybe I should go ahead and tell you about this so that you get it. The principles of end value management actually covers planned value, and end value, and actual cost performance index. Very, very important. In fact, you shouldn't go and look for it anywhere. You won't get it. You won't get it the way I will give you. Number 1, when you talk about the principles, I'm going to take you through all of them and we apply it so that you see how it works. Because when we talk about this cost performance index, if your cost is not performing, you know that it's not performing. You understand? So number 1 is end value. Number 1 is planned value. Number 2 is end value. 3, actual cost. 4, performance cost index. Cost performance index. 5, schedule performance index. So cost performance index is abbreviated as CPI, and schedule performance index is abbreviated as SPI. Now let's look at each of them critically. For planned value, it represents what is called the budget of the work, and the budget of the work is actually scheduled. Let's put it this way. Planned value is the amount of money that has been scheduled for the work to be done up to a specific point. So you say, I'm going to do from foundation to DPC. This is the amount that is planned for it, and that is the money that will take for that work to be done to that point, and it will take a certain period of time. You see the components of planned value. It has to do with the work schedule to be done, the cost of the work schedule to be done, So it means that the work is not just humongous. We have the work is measured, and the work also have timeline to it. That is what we term as planned value. All right. The next one here is yeah, you're all welcome. You're all welcome. Yeah, you guys don't forget to like this video as you're coming in here. Do well to like this video. Just go to the top right button, the three dots that you find there at the top of your screen. Click on it and you'll find the like show up. If you don't have that, you could just swipe on the screen and you will see the like show, and you hit the like button. As you do that, stay cool and listen. Right? Well done, guys. So I repeat, planned value, PV, represents the budgeted cost of the work scheduled to be done up to a specific point in the project timeline. What is the importance or the significance of this planned value? It provides you a baseline for assessing whether the project is on track in terms of planned costs and timeline. Take note of what I'm saying. Number 2, end value. End value, abbreviated as EV. End value is the value of work actually performed, measured in terms of the budget assigned to that work. The value of work actually performed. Remember, it's the value of work that is actually done. The other one is the one scheduled to be done. It has not been done. That is the plan. But this one is the one that is actually performed. Good. So we continue. I take it again. End value is the value of work actually performed, measured in terms of the budget assigned to the work. What's the significance of end value? The significance of end value, it helps you to quantify the progress made in completing project task, and it directly ties the work performed to its budget value. Is somebody getting this at all? If you are not getting the message, please tell me. So if you take this definition, you will understand it when we put it into application, because we are going to put it into application here. And when I put it into application, we see how we can determine whatever we want to do. Okay? Because you may have a cost performance index, you might have your actual cost and you want to find out your end value, or you want to find out your performance. So it's just a factor of change of subjects formula and you will get it done. Now, this is not, it's not rocket science. Like I used to tell people, you could save so much money when you have knowledge of something. So if you are looking at running any industry, whether it is architecture, whether it is construction, whether it is photocopying, whether it's a business center, you must follow these principles, because it's actually principles of managing your resources, managing your finances, and ensuring that the task that needs to be done is being done. Are you getting the message? All right. Number 3 is actual cost. What is actual cost? Actual cost is actually the cost, or rather the total cost incurred for the work performed up to a specific point in time. I repeat, actual cost is the total cost incurred. Keyword, incurred. Is the total cost incurred for the work performed up to a specific point in time. All right, great. What's the importance of that actual cost? Actual cost provides real-world measure of financial resources expended, helping to assess budget adherences. So it helps you to adhere to budget. It shows that this is what it is. Nobody should deceive anybody. This is what it is. If you are doing this and you're using 2 men, for instance, I am going to set 100 block. Listen, I'm going to set 100 block, and I will work with 1 mason and 1 labor. How much is 1 labor? How much is 1 mason? Are you getting the point? That you have dealt with the labor cost. Are you getting? Then you know the quantity of work, which is 100 blocks. What next do you need? You need cement, 1.5 bag. Are you getting the point? Then you need water, and what else? So by the time you put that down, that becomes the actual cost. Is somebody getting the message? So if you are coming in to watch me now and you not like this video, come on, go ahead and hit the like button, and let's make it fun, because studying is actually fun. Don't you guys like it? All right. So if you like it, let's continue. If you don't like it, you can actually go and have a cup of water while I do mine. Somebody's smiling. Yeah, somebody's smiling. I can see the person's face, but the person doesn't know I'm seeing the person. All right, the next one, which is number 4. Ami, are you okay? Good to see that you are still here. Great. Those ones who are not here, very soon I will see them. I will see them at the other side. Yeah, I gave you a cup of water, my dear brother. Good. Isn't it better? Are you not feeling better? So when you finish, you can take time and recap, and you get the stuff going. It's not a hassle. You can do it better than this. All right. Cost performance index is the 4th one. Cost performance index, by definition, which you need to understand so that we can put it into application, is a metric that measures cost efficiency calculated as, are you getting the point? EV divided by AC into okay, let me take it again. Let me take it again so that you don't miss it. Cost performance index is derived by you measuring the cost efficiency by calculating EV divided by what? AC. So N value over actual cost is equals to what? CPI. We are going to try something now, and let's see the fastest finger. But if you are not understanding, I would like everybody to be on the same page with me before we look for fastest finger on this CPI. Just simple division, right? But let's see the person's brain that works the best. So look for your calculator, keep it close by you, okay? And let's get that. All right, so before we end that, the significance of a CPI, which is cost performance index, is a CPI greater than 1 indicates cost efficiency, while CPI less than 1 signals cost overrun. You see that all the things that we've been talking before, we are getting down to the onions. Is somebody following me? Should we put ginger or garlic? Let's get to it. All right. I repeat this again, that the significance of cost performance index is seen whereby if the CPI is greater than 1, all right, if the CPI is greater than 1, it indicates cost efficiency, while if it is less than 1, it signals overrun. Good. I'm happy that we are all getting it. All right. So keep that in your notepad, because you are going to come back to it and apply something. Let me see how your brains hold these stuffs together. Now, we are going to look at the 5th one, which is called Schedule Performance Index, SPI. SPI is derived by EV over PV. Let me explain that. SPI is a metric that measures schedule efficiency. You know, we have costs, the one that measures cost efficiency, which is CPI. But the one that measures schedule efficiency is what? SPI. So that you know that when you are scheduling, are you scheduling well? Are you not putting too much people at a point? So let's look at it. So it is a metric that measures schedule efficiency, and it is calculated as EV divided by PV. EV is end value and PV is planned value. Are you getting the point? So SPI is equals to EV over PV. What's the significance? The significance is that in a situation where you have your SPI greater than 1, it indicates that project is ahead of schedule, which is actually good. When you do your scheduling and you're supposed to have finished your work, today is Tuesday, and you're supposed to have finished your work on supposed to finish your work on Friday, and it shows that by tomorrow you are finishing, or you are finishing today, it means that the project is doing well. That's right. I'm happy someone is getting it. Therefore, the other aspect is that if your SPI is less than 1, it suggests delay. Just like the one of CPI, the one of SPI is the same, but remember, the one of CPI had to do with EV over AC, while this one is EV over PV. That's the difference. So take note of that formula. All right? Take note of that formula. All right. Let's go ahead. Time is ticking. Okay, so what's the relevance of EVM in architectural projects? Monitoring, management, and control. You know, architectural projects can be multifaceted, it can be multifaceted. But let's look at design and construction phases, which are the main. You know, we have maintenance, we have design, construction, and operation. But let's look at this aspect, design and construction only. If you want to adapt EVM principles, you have to adapt it to accommodate the characteristics of the project during the design and construction phases. So, yeah. Hello, everyone. Hello. If you are coming into this video now, if not like this video, go ahead and like this video right away. And if you've not done that, you're not doing so well. Okay? Great. Yeah. So this signifies that we are in a region whereby, you know, something like this can happen. So go ahead and tell me what's happening in your area. Have you just experienced power outage in your area? If you are, then I think it's a central thing. But if you are not, It could be that it's from my end only. Let's briefly look at that. Have you experienced power outage in your area? All right. Nobody wants to say. Some of you did not even have light in your area. Okay, you call it NEPA. They call it PHCN now, power holding. Okay, but NEPA is still the stuff. All right. But you see, I have my backup power. All right. Yes, I have my backup actually. So let's move on to the other aspects that we are looking at. So the significance of design and construction phases when you're using when you're applying or adapting EVM is that EVM will help you to do it will help ensure accurate tracking and help you assess your project progress. We've talked about that before. Then you know that we can also apply this into aesthetics value. I'll take you through that so that we'll understand it. For aesthetics, EVM metrics will primarily help you focus on quantifiable aspects, but architectural projects involves not just quantifiable, it involves qualitative elements, which is the aesthetic aspect of whichever project that we do. You can also use EVM to boost your client's expectation. How do you do that? Even though it could pose a challenge, but you have to be subjective to client expectation that may not align directly with traditional EVM metrics. So you know that sometimes clients will need some things that you know that if you do it, it's not good. You subject it. Okay. So let's go ahead and apply EVM in our project as I promised that I'm going to do. So let's look at this in terms of design, okay? I'm leaving construction out. So this hypothesis is based on design. PV, which has to do with our planned value, which is also budgeted cost for the project phase. It represents, as I said, PV, which is the planned value, represents your budgeted cost of a phase. That's the entire phase of a project. It includes an estimated cost for activities such as site analysis, conceptual sketches, and design development. Now, let's apply these. Okay, I think I've already told you about all this, but let me refresh your memory so that when we are applying the figures, you will understand what we are applying figures for. End value has to do with completed design elements. So end value measures the value of the completed work within the initial design phase. It involves quantifying the progress of design activity and elements such as final sketches, conceptual, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, CPI, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's do this. Let's look at this. Okay. Let me ask this question based on what we have said. Remember we said earlier that cost performance index is calculated as EV over AC. So if your cost performance index, CPI, is greater than 1, it means it indicates cost efficiency, right? So Assuming that you have a CPI that is equal to 1.2, what does it imply? Can somebody say something? Remember that it's 0.2 that is added there. How many percent does that imply? 1.2. If your CPI is given as 1.2, I told you to have your calculators ready. Nobody's talking. Okay, so with your calculators, check it out. I already know what it is, but I told you to be prepared for this. It's cost effective, but with how many percent is it effective? Because you measure, it's an index, so you measure it by percentage. Okay, you measure it by percentage. While you are checking that, let me see the fastest finger. Some people are just, this is what will happen. Oh, can you imagine? All right. By percentage, it is actually 20%. Remember, it's just 1 means that if it is greater than 1, it means that it is doing well. If it is 1, it means that it is going in line with what it's supposed to be. If it is less than 1, it means it's delayed. But now this one is 1 point. Yeah, I already mentioned. That's why that's where you mentioned. All of them are rushing now. It's 20%. So 1.2 is actually 20%. Okay. If you have 1.5, it's 50%. Imagine that you have 2. Wow, that's a whole 100%. So you see, so that's how it flies. But we are going to design something here now. Okay. Okay, let's look at the one for SPI. It's 120. It's 20%, not 120. All right, so SPI, that's Schedule Performance Index, is calculated by EV over PV. So an SPI greater than 1 suggests what? Schedule efficiency. But if your SPI is equals to 0.8, it indicates that the design phase progress is a percentage. I won't tell you the number. It is a certain percentage of what is supposed to be. Remember that 0.8 is less than. So how many percentage is it? You know, it's supposed to have been 100% if it's going according to time. But yeah, Nduke, you are correct. 120 is correct, actually, because if you are going 100% means that it is going on time, it's going on schedule. Nduke, you are very correct. 120% is the correct answer. It is not 20%. Okay, 100% means that it is going as planned. Okay, when you add 20, great. When you add 20 to that 100%, means that you have shot above. That means you are doing better. So it's above 100. So in this case, if we have 0.8, how many percent will the project be? Going with what Nduke calculated. I'm waiting. Perfect. David, you got that right. Faster finger. Okay. So now, given that we are going to calculate the cost performance index of a project here now, take down these numbers. Our end value, or rather, our actual cost is 1 billion. Let's use smaller numbers so that you can calculate. Our actual cost is 100 million. Yes, 80%. progress, but it's not yet up to 100 to make it to be in line. It is behind by 20%, yes, in any way you look at it. So take this down. Your end value, yeah, if you're just coming into this video, go ahead and like this video. All right, go ahead and like this video. Not just sending flowers, go ahead and like this video. Perfect. Okay, so your end value, I repeat, is 100 million. EV, 100 million. AC, which is your actual cost, is 80 million. Your planned cost, 120 M. Are we together? All right. Calculate number one, cost performance index. Number two, schedule performance index. The planned cost is 120. All right. So while you are trying your hands, let's see fastest finger. Paradadam, pam, padam, pam, pam, paradadam, padam. Yeah. Who's going there? Who's getting it? Who is getting it? Yeah. So I think I can see that you guys are exhausted already, and some people are running out to go and calculate and come back with their answers. So what we are going to do now, you take that away so that I don't keep you here, and we are going to meet same time tomorrow so that we can wrap up all the calculations. So that we wrap up all the calculations. Okay, somebody says 1.25%. Someone says 0.25. Okay. So now, keep all these things. Tomorrow we are going to meet. What time? What time tomorrow? So you take your time, go through what we are doing. Ah, who is this person now? Who is saying 0.83? I'm seeing some. No, you guys are just, you're not showing walking. So we will show walking, okay? But let's agree on the time that we meet tomorrow so that we wrap up this particular aspect. And or do you guys want us to continue? Let me hear from you. Let me hear from you. Seven p.m. Seconded by even 8 a.m. is okay for me. 10 a.m. is okay for me. 12 noon is okay. Sambo, are you here? What time is favorable? All right, so we have two people who have agreed on the same time. Great. Perfect. Why do we want 8 p.m.? Any majority will carry the votes. That's the point. Majority will take it up. We have 5, 7, and we have 2, 8. Majority takes it all. If you have not subscribed to this channel this far and you've only been liking, you are doing yourself a disadvantage, because there are sometimes that I would just come up and you will get the notification. And trust me, I don't bug people. I only give content that is valuable. Like what I'm giving to you now, I'm sure that some of you might be wondering, but don't worry. By the time you come back tomorrow, you'll be the one telling me thank you all the way. All right. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, this is a very good opportunity for you to actually swipe and subscribe to this channel. Not just subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that whenever I come up online, you will be the first to be notified. Okay? Actually, what I do here is to give you information that is valuable, that will help you in your future practice, and some of those things that people do not carry on. Some of the things that people do not say, I say them here. Okay? So for me to come up online to do this, should know that I'm actually out to make sure that I give you the information. There's nothing to be withheld. All right, and it is for you to know it. It's for you to apply it. So please go ahead. If you have not like before we leave, like and subscribe. And if you have a question you want me to attend to, do well to drop that question by the end of this video. All right. So for everyone who has been here, I've seen your comments, I've noted, and I'm glad that you are here. But it's just quite shocking that we were at some points up to 15. Solomon, how many are you in that group? Favor, how many are you in that group? Because I am not seeing everyone and I would like to know why we are not all here. But if you think that you like this media, okay. All right. So if you think that you like, are you serious? 40. And no. They are doing themselves. Okay, you know what? Favor, after this session, go ahead and, for those who did not see, go ahead and share this to them so that they can get it. Because the truth be told, everything that I've given you are actually very valuable, and you come across them, certainly. You will certainly come across them, okay? All right. So at this point in time, I want to tell you thank you for being patient and staying by for us to get to this time, even when our NEPA holding has decided to, take the power when we were still in this session, but it can't stop any of us. So tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m., we'll be here and we will dive deeper into deeper things in this particular discipline. So I'm glad to have all of you, and I'm happy that you guys are a vibrant group. Feel free to share your comments anywhere, anytime, and share this to as many people that you think will need them, okay? That's it. So for now, I say bye for now. Sambo, you didn't say anything. Ami, where are you still there? I didn't hear from Ami again. Ami, are you there? Ami is not here again. All right. So take care and have a good night. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.